Have you ever felt like your sensitivity and your creativity were burdens and not gifts? What a lot of people don't realize is that you can have creative ideas and creative visions. You can be an artist in many different ways, but a lot of times you're also an empath. There's an energy that you're picking up on, that you're feeling inside of you, and that's what helps you to be creative. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, I'm a photographer, but, or I'm a videographer, or I love graphic design, but I don't think I'm an empath, I have news for you. You most likely are. I have not met anybody who's creative and not an empath. They go hand in hand so closely together that I am making this statement to you right now. If you are creative, you are an empath. And I'm going to show you how that is a superpower. It is not a burden, it is a gift. And you are meant for amazing things. So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Aubrey Bart. I am a photographer. I am also an empath, an intuitive coach. I help people to be able to process these kinds of energies that are trapped in their bodies or stuck in their head and be able to let those go and find their superpower. What I really want you to understand is that you have a divine gift. You have the ability to tap into something that other people around you do not understand. When you're creative, like we are, you can pick up on the craziest concepts. You think differently. You apply things differently. You're very innovative. You can come up with great ideas out of nowhere, things that maybe other people thought of and haven't even spoken out loud. We're picking up on energies in so many other ways than just listening, so many other ways than just seeing, because we have a different vision than most people. And it's actually quite beautiful. But here's the flip side. Maybe you're somebody who's trying to run a business with your creative work. Maybe you're an artist and you struggle sometimes because you don't like working with people. Maybe you have issues with boundaries. You feel like people are always nagging you to finish something or to do something different than what you wanted to do. You feel like you don't have the creative freedom you wanted. Maybe you feel like you can't charge enough. You can't charge what you're worth or what your value is. You feel like you are often taking on other people's emotions. If you feel like a client is upset about something, you automatically think, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What part of this do I need to own? When in reality, you probably don't have to own any of it. We're just so super sensitive to other people and to the things around us that we often put that on ourselves. And this can look like so many things. Another big thing that would come up is imposter syndrome. How many of you feel like you're doing great one day, you post some really beautiful things and you kind of roll with it and you're just feeling on top of the world, and the next minute, you're not. You're completely defeated and you're wondering why you have such high highs and such low lows. In reality, you might just be picking up on the crazy outside of you, and that's fine. But what I want you to learn today is how to decipher between what's yours and what someone else's, and also some tools to help you to reground yourself during your workday, repurpose your thoughts. These are things that I have taught for years, being an energy healer. It's just something that I've been into, and I've just noticed this pattern so much with creative people that this is where my passion is at. I want to talk briefly about some misconceptions for empaths. Now, I've been an empath my entire life. If you don't know you're an empath, you've still been one your entire life. You just don't know it yet. It's not something that we just picked up randomly from someone else, or we just kind of walked into without understanding. In fact, you probably have a lot of childhood memories that are kind of traumatic. And I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily. I mean that in a way that we really feel things deeply. So something that as an adult we can say, oh, I totally am fine now, but I did, honestly go through some stuff just dealing with that issue. Like we can look at it now and say, oh yeah, it's fine, but that hurt a lot, or that changed the way I thought about people, that changed the way I approached my own problems. We had a lot of these circumstances in our lives where it really altered the way we thought about things, especially ourselves. Being an empath means a lot of time that we took on so many extra burdens on ourselves internally. So maybe you're someone who's felt super guilty about something. You're just somebody who has internalized things like I don't fit in, or I'm never gonna have good friendships, or I'm never gonna find somebody to spend my life with. All of those things we really internalize and hardly ever speak out loud, but we feel them very deeply. When they come up in your mind, you feel it. An empath feels almost everything, unless some of you may have turned that off. What I mean by that is you're in a fight or flight response. So things are going on in the world and you completely shut down. And this is a learned response. This is something that in your past, you really felt like nothing you did helped. And so your way is to retreat. You're just gonna shut down. And that's okay. We wanna work through it. It's not ideal, especially for an empath. It's very important for us to get to the point where we can feel things fully in the moment and process them and move on. Now, big triggers, big traumas, yes, it's gonna take longer. But those moments where we have things come up that could potentially just ruin your day, we want to really learn how to feel into those emotions. Because when we don't, we get those trapped inside, and this is a big problem. It's really important for us to learn how to process those in the moment, and that's where this information is so useful. So no matter where you're at with understanding what an empath is, I strongly encourage you to feel into those moments and really give yourself a chance to break down whatever it is going on in your head and in your heart. Now that we've talked a little bit about some of the experiences you might have had, I want to talk about some good things. And that is, being creative and being an empath are two of the most amazing qualities to have. These are two things that will bring you absolutely into this creative superpower that people around you are not capable of matching. This is that feeling when you're really on a roll, when you start working on a project and you're just feeling so connected that you cannot stop, that everything feels good. And no matter what happens at the end of that project, you are so happy with it that you absolutely feel fulfilled. That is that beautiful place to be in. And the only way you can get there is by understanding how to process all of that energy that's coming your way, whether it be creative energy or from other people, from your clients, from the outside world, whatever. You have to be able to take it in, leave out the stuff that do not serve you, and process that and just kind of roll with it. It's a beautiful roller coaster of energy, and I love being on that. Let me tell you, some of my favorite things to do is to be in that creative space. I know no matter what happens, I'm gonna come up with these beautiful images that just everybody loves, but more importantly, I absolutely love them. So let me explain how this looks. Have you ever gone to a session or gone to a job and you're already just feeling off, like you feel like you are not ready for this whatsoever, even though you know technically you are ready, but there's something about it that just feels off. That's what it's like when you try to create from a place that's not grounded in energy. When we don't ground ourselves and we take on these things and we expect to use this beautiful creative gift we have, but without grounding, it really disturbs the energy. There's no flow to it. So we're pushing so hard to come up with this beautiful flow, and it's not happening. Stop what you're doing. One, you can put your feet in the grass, okay? In the sand, in the dirt, in water. Any of that is gonna help you ground better. It's gonna help that flow to start circulating around. What you don't realize, and most people don't realize about energy, is that it's a flow in you, but it also flows outside of you. And so if you're not allowing that to flow through properly, up through the feet, through the top of the crown of the head, and back around into a continuous circle, you are absolutely selling yourself short. You are cutting yourself off from any kind of extra creative knowledge, ideas, innovative things at all. You want to be able to use that energy better. Anybody who's watching this and doesn't already implement some of these can absolutely shift your entire world around by making sure you apply some of this knowledge. So ground yourself. Like I said, in the dirt, if you're needing more of a cleanse, water is amazing for cleanse. If you feel like something is sticky on you, if it feels just kind of sludgy, take a shower and then walk outside or put your feet somewhere in the water, in the ocean, in a lake, in free running river. Like, all of that is a really beautiful way to reconnect yourself. Honestly, if you're not feeding into that energy, you are going to burn out. I don't care how many appointments you take on. I don't care if you only work 10 hours a week. You will burn out if you're not feeding back into that energy. And that is something a lot of people miss. So understand that. That's my first tip. Another one is something I love to do. I show all of my clients how to do it. Some people are already energy workers, and some people are just photographers, and they find this super helpful. So you're gonna rub your hands together. This is when you have something going on in your world where you feel disrupted by things coming in. Another client, okay, maybe you've just been on a call with your sister and you're just feeling super, I took on all of her sadness, or I took on all of her frustration with what she's dealing with, and I don't know how to let that go. I'm feeling very overwhelmed with the energy that I've taken on just from being a good person. It doesn't have to be something crazy that happens. It can just be interaction with people and taking on their stuff because you care. We've all been there. So we're gonna rub our hands together, and this is all about intention. You cannot do this wrong. You're creating some friction with your energy field. Then as you separate your hands, I'm gonna bring my hands a little bit closer together until I feel this energy, almost like an energy ball. To me, it feels like an energy ball. I can feel it right here, okay? So there's a nice, like, forceful kind of field right here in my hands. And I'm gonna set the intention that I wanna separate my energy from other people's and vice versa. I don't wanna take on more than I can handle. And the reality of it, a lot of the stuff that people put on you, you don't need to process for them. Our channels are open, and so often we do try to, but we don't need to, right? That's not even our stuff to take on. So I'm gonna take this energy ball and I'm gonna use it to separate the space above my head. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna circle it around my head. And as I do that, I like to say a prayer. You can say whatever you want. I will say something like, Heavenly Father, I separate this energy from me and give it back to you. I've done all I can do with it, and I give it back to you. And I kind of signal up. You can give it back to the universe. You can say, I'm thankful for my experiences I've had with this person, but I can't carry this energy any longer. I give it back to you. I put it in the evidence room in the sky, as my friend Ali would say. So whatever you need to do that, I can tell you right now, I already feel lighter. If you do that, the first time it might feel a little bit weird, but if you do that continuously, you may need it every day. That's okay. You're gonna feel some shifts happen for you, and it's gonna be amazing. I can promise you that, because we don't need to carry all of that around. It doesn't make me a better sister or friend or mom to feel everybody else's emotions, okay? It's hard to separate when you're a mom though, but in general, it's not that you're a bad person. It's just that you literally take it on so much more than you need to. And that's okay. I'm gonna meet you right where you're at with that. I get it. I've spent my entire life doing that. And only in my later 30s did I figure out how to separate myself from that. A huge weight gets lifted when you can learn how to separate your energy from that energy and understand that you don't need to take it all on. The last way I want to show you guys how you can separate that energy and really dive into your creative flow. I made this amazing video to break up your workday. You can use it in the middle of, like I said, working. You can do it just in the middle of the day. You can do it when you wake up. This is going to be absolutely life-changing for you to do every day. It's a way for you to shake up your energy. There's some physical movement, and then there's some energy clearing you can do for yourself just to kind of move it around. You're going to find that you're more creative when you sit back down. You're going to find that you feel lighter, you feel like things are easier. I don't know how many of you sit there and work and do so much that you feel like you can't take it anymore, and you're really pushing. Like, creative flow is called flow for a reason. It's meant to be this just ongoing process that feels good every second of it. But a lot of times we end up in a situation where we're so energetically shut down that we don't have that flow. So I want to invite you to grab this freebie from me. It's going to be in the comments below. Just snag it, sign up for it, and start doing it every day. Okay? It's going to be life-changing, and it's going to be something that you can count on to walk you through this process to help you better set up your boundaries as an empath and as a creative person. And guess what else, you guys? You are going to save so much time. You are no longer in the business of wasting time. When you understand that that energy from the outside and that creativity are clashing with each other, this is going to be a massive superpower for you. Look forward to hearing all about what you guys are going through, all about the things that you've noticed as being an empath and a creative person. And let me know also how well these have worked for you in the comments below.